Hi, my friends. Yeah, the spirit got me to hit the stop button, and I guess because this is going to be a really long video, anyways. This part will be longer, I'm sure. So this is part two of a video called "The Divine in a Terraformed, Soulless Scarcity Planet and Real Abundance." So yeah, I mean, we are doomed to a sometimes or mostly soulless, or SOL, soulless prison planet if we're not willing to get together to put an end to it. Um, it is clear God doesn't give a flunk about organic life. God is a helpless, hopeless, narcissist, control freak who only wants us as slaves, bloody drinks, and Energizer bunnies. So don't open your third eye. Don't wake up. Stay asleep, because we need you. I need you to run the psychological war as a sleeper agent and do all kinds of horrible shit because you're unaware. That's what God wants. He only wants us as slaves, bloody drinks, and Energizer bunnies permanently, and sex kittens, as we are usually held back in Earth School permanently, permanently forced to reincarnate with our memories wiped, and little or no sunlight in the future if we don't stop this shit. It's not going to be a single day that's not engineered because, again, Operation Space Fence being operational since the year 2022, according to the beings who do it. And to these grand mad tinkerers, attempts to coerce us all into becoming humans 2.0 4 years ago, and look how more than half the planet obliged. Most of us are in sheer denial of that many of our friends, loved ones, and family are being rapidly digressed and devolved via the self-replicating nanobot and graphene dioxide in hex shuns to becoming remote-controlled human hybrid cyborg slaves. However effective or deadly the experiment has been, we've been witnessing the massive mass formation psychosis, especially since then. We've saw the Catholic Church pay millions of dollars out to victims of homosexual pedophile priests a decade ago, and people still go to mass. People still believe in this system. People still blindly obey the medical mafia system out of fear, coercion, and threats of abuse and a lot of large bribes, or just because they did such a great job of indoctrinating them, literally. The untrue parts of our institutional systems, the things done to harm others because of the perceived need to control. All who break the real divine law of non-interference, the real divine law of non-interference with others' free will, all who torture, rape, kill, manipulate, deceive, and imprison others, especially the innocent or kind or someone who's respectful, you will all be required to make exact karmic payments for your huge crimes. And no one in a black robe is ever going to accurately determine what that is, because they don't have eyes in the back of their head. They can't see the full picture. The myth or truth of Satan as Lucifer. Satan Lucifer, as the Bible thumpers call it. Well, the myth or truth of Satan as Lucifer was that he rebelled against God by trying to be God himself, right? Well, the thing, they don't really get much into the details about or tell you much about is that it never stopped, and it's everywhere and a lot more pervasive than they would ever have the courage to admit, of course. That is why, Satan or Lucifer tried to rule everywhere. That is why he's called the prince of this world. What they don't say much about, only a dozen or so of us researchers talk about, is that Lucifer successfully established probably all powerful so-called kingdoms, wars, identity politics, became a mind control extraordinaire, a master psychologist, inventing narcissism, injecting narcissistic personality disorders into and other related illness into injected psychological war and slavery everywhere he could, at a very, very rapid and did a very good job in the last, century, especially several centuries. And he never gave up his attempts to play the real God all the way to Humans 2.0 and a tiny fraction of sunlight access that we once had. For as we can see in 2020 and Agenda 2030, there are only enough resources for a few dozen elites to have any free will. And like I say, they don't even have it because they didn't get these ideas from their own demented, broken heads and hearts, black holes in their chest. No so-called 1% or elites have any free will, choice, or abundance because they choose to use it to do things to try to control others and harm others and get rich doing it. We are all here for them to be their slaves and resources in the zero-sum game of crony capitalism, whereby all of the energy here is for the anti-life junior gods of the black hole sun. We have to keep giving Lockheed Martin the money and gases to keep this up. We have to keep taking boosters. We have to keep our fingers in our ears, our hands over our mouths and eyes, like the three monkeys, because we are our egos. If we're not going to be willing to do the shadow work and face ourselves, we are the encrusted little Luciferic spirits in our subconscious telling us to be idiots. We are wage and property slaves. We don't want to know our face or face the truth. If we don't want to know or face the truth, then pretty much by default, we are what Mark Passio calls de facto Satanist or default energy vampires. We are the hijacked monkey minds of humans. Okay, this is what happens if you let your ego be in control of you. You become radio station 666. You become a fucking idiot who does what they're told, psychologically at least. You become a loose snack. Survival beast mode and narcissistic personality disorders are the inverted modern condition of enslaved humans who cannot see themselves or their actions. So take deep breaths, 5 or 10, 15 minutes a day if you got the courage and the discernment, and think and discern what you're doing. Divine planet Gaia is a very abundant, very nurturing and loving, extremely altruistic, vastly peaceful, totally harmonious being, a divine globe. But our anti-life Helite masters, the demiurge and Luciferic, the Anunnaki, the grid and matrix programmers, who can control my online speech here, could not care less as long as we are able to barely function enough, not to learn the things I'm trying to teach you, but to barely function enough to be good slaves or energy resources. Think about it, folks. This is what the forced compulsory K through 12 was all about. To terrify you and make you afraid to think for yourself and be just aware and just on a low enough vibration to be a good factory worker, basically. Slave or energy resource. Too dumbed down. Don't have enough time to think. I got to go to work. Too dumbed down, ignorant, afraid, or selfish to ever evolve. If we are all physically and psychically separated, okay, there's no chance. Then, of course, the dark side wins. The archons get a nearly endless supply of loose drip on your energy if you can't discipline your emotions and your tongue and learn how to respect yourself and others. The Constitution becomes, as Nancy Pelosi called it, passé. If you obey the mainstream media, it's passé. No, we need the technocracy, communism. A respectful God who gave us all free will becomes virtually, pun intended, unknowable under the inverted, hijacked auspices of the patriarchal churches and governments and the secret government. The punitive, Luciferian, fraudulent, violence-based junior god system is believed still. And even having a soul or a free will or sunshine even becomes collectively out of the question, passé, a crazy idea, an old school, Yusuf, Klaus Schwab spokesperson Yusuf says, that's an old-fashioned idea. We could program and hack people and program that idea out of them. Out of the question. Maybe it'll be next month with CBDC, a decade from now with Humans 2.0 finally flowering into the completely mechanized thing that they want it to be. Or ASAP, if you obey Klaus Schwab, there will be no room for any possibility of knowing the real, original, divine creator in a terraformed, soulless AI planet, singularity, 50-minute smart line cities, based on the false concept of scarcity. Imagine parts of your body attacking other parts of your body. Well, this is what every person who obeys the New World Order is like spiritually. Because we are all one. We are all part of this body of this thing called humanity. So if I attack you or anyone else, I attack myself. It's like schizophrenia. It's like narcissistic personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, cancer, or autoimmune diseases. All of these illnesses, actually, in reality, in flesh suit, so-called 3D real time, all of these are partially, at least, the results of humans turning their these ill lies of Lucifer in on themselves. They believe the mind control, brainwashing programming of the mainstream media so much that they believe the Luciferic entities are them, and if they're not violent or harmful to others, it can turn into a cancer. It can turn into autoimmune disease. Everyone is in it solely for themselves. Everyone is here for their own little me. These insane ideas create or feed these conditions. Whereas, irregardless of how much money or resources you have, real abundance, even in a tent in the forest, is found in oneness or real awareness of Christ gnosis. If it's like the t-shirt said, no God, no fear, no God, no fear. If you really know the real creator, there's really nothing to fear. Because you see, it is, this body is a temporary flesh suit. It's through the threat of the death of this flesh suit that the dark have been able to do most of their harm. Threatening as well as physically torturing it and harming it, killing people as an example to show you not to be free, like the martyrs, So it's a control through fear. If you really know we are all, real abundance is found in oneness or real awareness of Christ gnosis within. If you really know we are all one family, one big garden of a planet after the matrix and space fence are gone, in particular. That's when we'll rebuild. We'll actually be able to flower, like the Buddha said. The more awakened you are to the real abundance, the more you will see it, feel it, participate in it. Of course, not without doing the shadow work. Of course, without the shadow work, your false ideas and cobwebs might become obstacles and you might go back to poverty. Who and where is the real divine? Is it you? Is it within you? Who and where is the real abundance? It is within this planet, this divine globe in our bodies. It is within the souls. It is within you. It is within the sunshine. It is within all the organic elements. We find true abundance. But as far as these fleshy suits go, just like the sexual sexual reproduction, we truly only find abundance, as Christ said, when two or more are gathered in my name, and peace, respect, and harmlessness, discernment. Yes, many folks are financially poor, yet rich in community or spirit. They're all around you if you have the eyes to see. Another thing, scripture was, the disciples asked Christ, when will we see the kingdom of heaven? When we die, when we become enlightened masters, when we're truly born again. And he said it is all around you now if you have eyes to see. You can see people who are, socially, let's say, not necessarily spiritually enlightened, but socially harmonious all around you, who experience equanimity every day of their life all around you, if you have the eyes to see them. On the other hand, it would be hard to find a wealthy person who is not absolutely full of poverty consciousness. It's got to be. I don't think it's possible to find a billionaire who's not an extreme scarcity consciousness in order to try to take over that much of the world. Spreading physical poverty through their psychic impoverishment. Usually they spread physical impoverishment through, their psychic impoverishment. And to make it a long handful of transactions short, there must be a breakdown of the society of liars. There must be a implosion or suicide going on right now, or a best case scenario transformation. Not a physical war, a repulsion of invisible war, a rejection of invisible war, a self-transformation going on that rejects it to reach higher, the frequencies of the Most High, where humanity actually has a future. The mainstream media, on the other hand, makes people into inverted solipsists if it can. Because a people divided in the grips by narcissistic personality disorders are the exact opposite of aware of Christ. Like, they actually think they are God, and everyone here is to serve them, or like to be an evil junior God, to be energy sources for them to steal and harvest. Gates, Soros, Harding, Schwab obviously feel it is only about them. Quite the opposite of altruistic, ironically, right? The narcissist thinks he is a god, but is usually a very talented, talking, conniving swindling black hole. So in the service of freedom to the divinity who gave us free will originally, and in the future and now, if we have the courage to fight for it, the Hellites are slowly all going to commit suicide, or they're going to have to actually transform and be born again into something that's not spiritually retarded and killing. For unless trying to flip their karma, they will never, ever face the music. Think about how much less great music there's been since the lockdown. I mean, just it's not musically inspirational what they do. So they will never ever face the music, and sooner or later, through a lot more terraforming, mind control, terraforming geoengineering, war, famines, floods, or simply a ton of shadow work, we will each individually and collectively finally learn true abundance and joyful, amazing, multidimensional, unbelievably, remarkably awesome and fun journey will be the real new normal when we realize true abundance and security is in spirit, not in objects and control with wars. Like I say, I've really enjoyed having being able to learn about psychology right here in my camp with my microwave phone, but it's a dangerous type of power to have 5G everywhere spread out. As painful as it is, knowledge is power, and I'm here to share wisdom, to give you the pearls of wisdom, the jewels of knowledge and awareness. And if you want, and if you've learned anything from this and you have a couple extra dollars, put it in my tip jar at buymeacoffee.com/TreysMyths. And, pay it forward otherwise, share the wisdom with other people. And drop comments. Try to, self-censor if it's YouTube, or the chances are 0% chance that I will see your comments. And so, as painful as it is, knowledge is power, and even if we have to live in glass houses, we will survive, or a small portion of humanity will survive, and not under the authority of fake authority, junior god, self-appointed officials who worship the dark side. Geoengineering, 5G, nowadays it seems that the majority of humanity can and will have their etheric space, the fifth element, or sixth, according after metal, or my zodiac element, according to the new zodiac of Ophiuchus. The 13th zodiac sign is my sign. So literally what I'm saying here is having, through the 5G, the nanotech, geoengineering, heavy metals, and the space fence, through having your etheric space, like if you're a so-called homeless or even houseless in a tent, even in your automobile, if you don't have pretty thick insulated walls, a lot of the times you may have had your etheric space completely removed. It's not there. Due to these invisible warfare elements, you don't have etheric space. Having that removed, like the concept that our divine DNA became designated as junk, these weapons could easily destroy nearly all of the homeless people, like kill off the homeless, especially if they have disease like cancer, MRSA, other illnesses that are, without care, without even needing to resort to these insane laws and systems like California Care Court or California Proposition 1. For instead of ethers and oxygen, they get heavy metals, they get Wi-Fi, they get nanotech, and they get, some of them, that stay in the designated homeless camps, they get extreme immersion in carbon monoxide right next to the highway, of course, and ideally all bad drugs if, the dark ones get their way. However, maybe we were all very bad in past lives, or gullible, or again, we let the dark ones who control the reincarnation process guilt trip us back here, being so gullible that our souls tried to live in this divine globe that was hijacked and attempted to be made into a prison, And so we each must remember our souls into humanity, back into humanity. Remember our souls back into humanity through facing our shadows, our defects, through admitting when we're wrong and being willing to consider even correcting it, if not correcting it. Being and acting as our true self as much as of the duration of our day as we possibly can, or living our blueprint in harmlessness and respect together as one. In Hamza, we will be able to be in the energy of community and true abundance, even if we have to begin to do it simply like this online. We will be able to be in the energy of co-creation, which is real life, community, and true abundance, real security, even on this rapidly terraformed, hijacked divinity we call Gaia, for she always reminds us we are one in eternity. And if you enjoyed this, if you haven't already, click subscribe and hit the notification bell for more. And if you're courageous enough and fearless enough to learn even more facts I can't say on YouTube, check me out on odyssee.com, odyssey.com, or rumble.com for more. And if you have the courage, my challenge to you as always is create a great one, my family.